Hi everyone, my name is Donna Gilliland. I'm the founder of MOSTraining, where I teach Microsoft Office solutions training as well as social media technologies. All right, well, here is why I am online today, is I want to help you get better with writing formulas within Microsoft Excel. I have used Excel for 30 years and taught it for 25. And I want to say that in all these years of teaching, that even though that there are many that come to my classes that use Excel every day, that still don't know some of the things that are actually very critical in creating formulas, which is one of the major parts of using Microsoft Excel of many, is being able to write formulas. You don't necessarily have to be advanced at them, but there is a foundational level of understanding you've got to have to be able to write any formula. And so this class that I will be doing is, I call it Beyond the AutoSum, because there's so much more than just adding up numbers. So let me show you what I mean. And then maybe you'll learn a few things in this process, in this short snippet that I'm doing to introduce the class of Beyond the AutoSum. So let's get started. First of all, I can't stress enough how important it is for you to have a clear understanding of what the difference is between a formula that is relative, which is the default in Excel when you copy a formula, versus absolute. Now, so stay with me, because if you're thinking, oh, I already know that, and I'm going to waste a few minutes here listening to the rest of it, but I don't think that's going to be the case for you. But that's one of the things that will be covered as a review, is what the differences are with that, as well as some logical functions, understanding when do you use a comma in a formula versus a colon, and just the whole syntax of writing and structuring function formulas. But before I get into what the topics are going to be, in this spreadsheet I have on the screen, it's the goal here is to create a formula that calculates the total commission for each one of these people on a fixed rate, sales rate of 8.5%. Well, of course, some of you are probably thinking, well, that's a really simple formula, and it is. We start with an equal, and I'm going to click the value I want, and then I want to multiply by the value that's in J1. Now, here's where this is very important, even though the formula itself is simple, is that when I copy the formula down, right now I am in G6, but it's row 6 that I'm in. This is what's important. When I copy the formula down one row, I'll be in row 7. So the formula will change relative to the new row, and F6 will become F7. But J1 will become J2 because Excel is changing the row number on both sides of the formula as I copy from row to row. So how do you fix that? So that J1 stays J1 while the other rows change to F7, F8, F9. Well, that would be a mixed reference formula where it's a combination of relative and absolute. Well, what do those things mean? Well, you're going to learn them in Beyond the AutoSum. Here's another example. Go to another sheet for you here. In this particular sheet, we're going to create a commission that is based upon a variable rate versus a standard rate for everybody. For example, if here's the criterion. Let me just say it that way. The criterion is that anyone who has sold greater than, say, $500,000, they are getting an 8% commission. Otherwise, they only get a 6% commission. And we would do that with a logical function called if. And in the process, you would be learning about formula syntax. Syntax simply means the structure that a function must be written in order to work correctly. Here's another example of something you're going to learn. Date functions. Here's a spreadsheet where I want to find out how many years as of the current date have these employees been with the company. And then once I get that formula in, which would require a date type function to accomplish that, then I'll always know when I open this spreadsheet how many years each of these people have been with the company. Perhaps in the company, we award people with a gift for, say, 5 years of employment versus 10, 15, 30. Now, I would want to use a formula to find out, keep a formula perhaps in the spreadsheet that always tells me when I open the spreadsheet how many people as of today's date have been with the company 5 years. How many have been here 10, 15, and the formula will be there, and I'll always know those answers whenever I open up the spreadsheet. So you would learn date functions. You would also learn how to use a statistical function, which is COUNTIF. Now, it might sound like it's going to be technical, but I'm going to make it easy. You'll see. And I often tell people that not having a strong foundation of writing formulas is a lot like trying to take an algebra class, but you never learn to add, subtract, multiply, divide. You never learned the core foundation to being able to write algebraic equations. And the same applies in Excel. If you were tasked with, maybe your company uses VLOOKUP a lot and you've been tasked with utilizing that function, but you never learned the foundational parts of writing formulas. Like what happens when you copy a formula down a row versus a column? When do we use a $sign in a formula? And when do you use colons and commas in a formula? What about this one? In the same spreadsheet. Let's say that in this spreadsheet, I want to combine the last name with the first name in a column all its own and have it say full name. I need a text function for that. But when I write that formula, I want when the last name comes in with the first name, I want there to be a literal comma after the last name and a literal space before that first name. Now, how in the formula do you write it where Excel doesn't misinterpret the comma to mean that you're ready to move on to the next part of the formula? How do you get it to return literals like a comma and a space? You will learn that in Beyond the AutoSum, as I call this class. Let's look at one more piece and then I'll close out. I'll also let you know this class that I teach called Beyond the AutoSum. I will put in the notes here on YouTube when it's being offered and the link for you. But also, if you're not subscribing to my newsletter, then you can go to my website. I'll show you where in just a moment. But let's go back to a key point here that's a basic. Here are basic formula rules. And of course, you're going to be learning more than just the basics, but we're going to start with reminding you, of the basics, that all formulas have to start with an equal sign. That's how Excel knows that you are writing a formula and that you're not trying to put in information into that cell. You can never have spaces in a formula. Now, you can get it to return a literal space, more about that in the class. And when do you use a colon in a comma versus a comma? Can you put both together in a formula? I'll give you that. Yes, you can put commas and colons together in a formula like I have in this sum function. And then you're going to learn about just formula syntax in general. Syntax, again, that simply means the order in which a specific function has to be written. But certain things are common in all function formulas, such as commas and colons, etc. And you will learn text functions like joining two text columns together and a few other type text functions. So let's see, I think that's about what I wanted to share with you about what's going to be in Beyond the AutoSum. And that's the class. And that class will be, I think it's going to need at least 60 minutes for us, maybe longer, but I'll let you know the details. But you will be learning about a review of the formula fundamentals. Everything I've just stated in this short video, you will learn, including a couple of lookup functions, VLOOKUP versus XLOOKUP. XLOOKUP is new to Office 365 and is better than using VLOOKUP. And I think that you will be so much more comfortable with writing formulas when you leave this learning and when you leave the class. Now, this foundation is very important to whether or not you can then later on write more advanced function formulas should you ever be tasked with doing that. And then you can visit my website at MOSTraining, MOStraining.com, and feel free to sign up for my newsletter, because those on the newsletter are always notified first whenever there are special classes coming out. And then you'll learn more about me on that website as well. So that's it for now, and I hope you get to join the class Excel Beyond the AutoSum. So that's it for now, and I'm going to say bye.